So in this video we're sort of carrying on with the idea of authority, and we're looking about how you can build an air of authority around yourself. And one of the key things with motivating people that runs through, it's like the golden thread of it, is listening. And people that are very confident and in charge tend to be able to listen very comfortably and feel fairly unthreatened by that. And what also comes with authority is people know that you have a level of competence in what you're doing. And the listening skills you can learn, but the competence, I think, is a thing that takes a longer time to accrue, really. And another element of it is basically sociability. So people that seem to be sociable and interact fairly well, it goes along with the confidence thing, I think. Trustworthiness is another positive trait linked in with authority. So doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Understanding, believability. So when I think about some of the characters, like with a reference to the Yellow Three-Wheeler, if you're of an age, you'll understand Only Fools and Horses. And the main character in that basically didn't listen, wasn't believable, wasn't trustworthy, and most of the times wasn't really taken seriously. If anything, he was overconfident. And another trait of authority is honesty. So when you look at it, all those elements give you authority and link through to physical signs of credibility. And your credibility in the dealings with the individual day to day builds up over a period of time. But you've also got something called terminal credibility. And that's really your last interaction with them up to this point. And unfortunately, the last thing that you do with them sticks with them more than anything that's gone before. So humans have got a very short sort of memory. So you need to leave a good taste in their mouth is the basis of it. Even if things go wrong, pull it right, say sorry, make amends, and you still leave that good taste in their mouth. When you talk about credibility in itself, you come into the remit of power. And when you're looking at the idea of power, there's different types of power. So the classic one with authority would be expert power, where you're an expert in the field, or informational power, where you possess information that nobody else does. In the workplace, it's reward power, so the ability to pay you, give you bonuses, give you an income. And with that, your direct boss will have something called legitimate power, which is power that's given over to them. So what you've got at the back end of it is you have other types of power, and one of them would be known as coercive power, where you're manipulating people into doing stuff. And when you think about the different types of power and authority, really the one we can't use too much is coercive. In a sense, I do wonder, I've seen some good carers use an element of coercion in their work with some of the residents, but it's been directed in a very moral way. I know that sounds rather strange, but with the best interests of the person at heart. And I don't quite know how the inspectors would view that, but I've seen coercion used fairly positively as well. So maybe it's the word that bothers people more than the context of how it's done and why it's done. So, Authority 101. When it comes to basically your relationships with people as activity coordinator, I'll be fairly blunt. Most of the times, the activity coordinator doesn't have a lot of authority in a care home. The only authority they have is a sort of legitimate authority if it's given by the manager, which puts you in problems sometimes. Because in reality, the power you've got and the power you wield is sometimes not a lot. And that's also difficult if you want to build trust and get things done. So as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about it logically. The real trick is not to overpromise. If you overpromise, you're going to get all sorts of problems going forward. I hope that's helpful, and I'll be talking a little bit more about the idea of social proof on the next couple of videos.